Guys, we really need to talk about corporate trauma. If you have developed some sort of trauma response to calendar invites as a result of being laid off, we need to chat, because that's me. I got a last minute calendar invite from a director today and immediately full body hives, sick to my stomach, heart racing. I'm done for. I'm on the call with her and she's talking about organizational changes, restructuring, and I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I just started a month ago and here I go again. Like, this would be the third riff in 9 months for me. I'm okay. I have a job. I'm just moved under a different org umbrella. Like, that's fine. But I know a lot of people were impacted today. And I honestly don't know how big this was in terms of percentages for my company. But how do you cope with this? If you have been through multiple rounds of layoffs or constantly at risk of being laid off, that fear, how do you manage this stress? Because I'm having a very difficult time with it. It's going to take me like a week or more to fully get out of this anxiety state. We need to talk about this. How do we do it?
I'm going to jump in. You see what that's about there? She's saying, I'm going to stop saying to that machine, the teleprompter, what's in the teleprompter? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Because you guys don't want me to be anti-Trump. So she's trying to, this is after the election, right? And nobody else on her team is willing to follow her leadership, even though the bosses are telling her, you can't be this anti-Trump. I mean, for one thing, we got Brendan Garr, the FCC director, breathing down our back. They're suing us for DEI stuff, violation of the Constitution. We may not get our affiliate deals renewed all over the country. I mean, they're in a lot of trouble. And so Whoopi, who's seen as the leader, right, on The View, is being told, you got to get everybody on the same page. So she's saying, well, help me. I don't know what I'm supposed to say because there's nothing in the teleprompter and I have only one place to go, right? And Joy is out there saying, well, of course, we have only one place to go because we hate Trump and we're not going to change our minds about how much we hate Trump. Let's keep listening.
You do what you're supposed to do. You bring up the words I need to say. So what I need to say is we're going to go back to the convo that we...
I got to give Donald Trump credit. This guy just will not quit. Now he's asking the Supreme Court to overturn a lower court ruling that halted the federal employee layoffs. Trump wants to lay off up to 150,000 federal employees, most of them minorities. But here's the thing. Back in 2000, federal employees represented 0.64% of the total population. In 2017, they represented 0.64% of the total population again. And then in 2024, federal employees represented 0.66% of the total population. Virtually unchanged over the last 25 years. But what has changed is the percentage of minorities that work for the federal government. In 2000, that number was 30%. In 2024, it had risen to 40%.
I've been in a strategy meeting for the past 3 hours, and this founder gave me, right on the spot, 30 seconds to figure out how I'm going to help them lay off 30% of their workforce and replace it with AI. Who wants to lay off their workforce in like a week? Like, who does that? Jesus. I'm not worried about them finding this video anyway. They're very not tech savvy, you know? And they want to replace their workforce with AI. Sounds like they'll be bringing people back. Okay, you're probably wondering how did it go? Bitch. I shouldn't even be laughing. But we done cut down to like 324 people. I told them not to do this.
What is it about this week that's making every single company say, hey, we're going to start doing layoffs because we're bringing in AI? Did somebody press the button this week? Let's roll out the AI. What did we miss? What or who made it this week? This is all we're hearing. They're making this lady lay people off due to AI. I don't know how I would feel about that. I would feel like my job is under attack too. I just want to know though, like, what made this week the week? This is not a coincidence, I don't feel.
I have seen another round of layoffs. I wanted to remind everyone that job security no longer exists. I graduated college in 2012. Job hopping at that time, there were actually so many jobs because we were just coming off of a recession. Now, the issue eventually became job hopping was seen as a negative. Everyone was judging millennials, like, what do you think you're doing staying at a company for 1 to 2 years? Getting some training off of us and then going on to a better manager, more money, maybe getting into the next level in your career, maybe joining a bigger company, maybe going after better benefits. Whatever it was seen as a negative. Now I want you to flip that. Imagine you stay with a company for years. Eventually, their board of directors, maybe their executives, decide we're going to go into another market, or we're going to try something that's just going to change the industry. Are you all with us? Yeah. Companies always have to try new things. Doing the same thing all the time with zero innovation is not going to help a company. So sometimes you do have to shift a little bit. It's easier said than done of don't take it personal. But the reason why everyone should remind themselves that job security no longer exists is because even when they are making decisions to lay people off, if you had been with the company for 10, 15, 20 years, that is taken into consideration. But that could also mean, depending on what you're responsible for and what your impact is in the business, it could also mean your salary is high. They would have to take that into consideration. And when I'm saying job security no longer exists, I hope that people can really embrace what they can get from a company versus relying on a company for a paycheck. Once our generation went through a recession while I was essentially in high school, there are people who had been with their companies for 20, 30 years, and they were losing their jobs, losing their homes. And I think that's what millennials realized is just because you have that time with a company doesn't mean they have to keep you and your job is completely secure.
So I just watched the video where this guy was talking about the list of jobs that were doing layoffs in the month of June. Now we're what day is this? The 4th or the 5th of June? I don't know. And so I'm just going to tell you the list that I've seen, a few that I knew. Okay, so it said Walmart, Microsoft, Morgan Stanley, Chase, Bank of America, and Meta, okay, we're doing layoffs this month in June. When they're doing layoffs, it did not say, but it did say they're doing layoffs. And they were basically talking about how if you are working right now, do not quit your job because the job market right now is hard to get in, to find a job. And I agree. Okay. I'm a school teacher. It's not as hard to find jobs as a school teacher. It's just if you're trying to find a job as a school teacher in a certain area, like in the city that you live in, it can be hard depending on what they're looking for. But I do agree that if you're somewhere and it's not as bad or as toxic, if you are going to quit your job, make sure that you already have a job lined up, that you already signed your offer letter, you got everything together, and you're going to go straight there, okay? But don't just quit saying, okay, I'll find another job. Make sure you have security, okay? But that's all I have with KTV for right now.
The days of I'll find another job, you talking to the boss saying, I don't need this job. You need me more than I need you. It's not time to say that at all because they're going to be like, no, I don't. I don't need nobody. Y'all know the plans, man. AI. They don't need human beings. In their eyes, been there, done that. You definitely need that job more than that job needs you at this point in time. You need that paycheck. Unless you got something lined up, it's not time to quit. You have something that's paying you more than the job that you're at right now, then okay, you can quit. Otherwise, it's not the time.
Well, sitting here on my porch trying to get some fresh air. I found out yesterday that I was one of approximately 150 people in my organization that got let go, laid off, restructuring, that's what we were told, whatever that means. The last 24 hours have been, actually 24 plus hours, I guess. It's now 28 hours, have been pretty tough. A lot of emotions. It's really the first time I think I've ever been laid off in my, God knows how long I've been working. It seems like forever, 30 years maybe. I don't know, long time, 30 plus years. I think this is my first actual layoff. So, not performance based. You know, I'm eligible for rehire, so I guess that's a positive. But so now I'm out in the market at 53 years old. Don't know what's going to happen. Apparently, I do have some severance. Still waiting to find out the details on that. So at least I know I'm going to be carried for a little bit before I have to start dipping into any reserves or any other additional funds. Trying to avoid all that. So I think I'm going to try to keep track of this journey. I know there are a lot of people out there that are in the same boat with me or been in the same boat. Job market's kind of crap right now, so I'm not looking forward to trying to find a new one. So here's post one of I don't know how many, but we'll see where it goes from here.
Guys, it is brutal out there. Do not quit your day jobs in June. I don't care what's going on, how rough it is, how stressful that job is for you. Unless you have something lined up, do not bounce. Right here, I'm going to post them on the screen. Here are a list of companies, major companies that have announced for June that they intend on doing layoffs. It is not going to get any better anytime soon. I understand you may hate your job, but unless it is a mentally damaging position where it is so toxic that you are just going to harm yourself or it's going to degrade your quality of life, stay in your job. The phrase "do not quit your day job" has taken on a completely new meaning in this job market.
It's not going to get better no time soon. In fact, more companies will start laying off soon. The list of companies doing layoffs will grow soon. It's expected at this rate.
Since my page is randomly getting some traction right now, I figured it's the perfect time to post more. Hello, my name is Tatiana, and as of 2.5-ish weeks ago, I am unemployed in the city. I worked in digital media for about 11 years, and most recently, my last role before being laid off at my company, I was the managing editor at a beauty and style digital media brand. And for those of you who are also media mavens or who have worked in tech, editorial, whether that be traditional at a magazine or online, you know how tumultuous and volatile the past 5-6-ish years in this industry has been. So if you haven't been laid off, I'm sure you know at least 2 to 3 people who've been impacted by layoffs. I personally, previously before working at my last company, I was working at a company for 7 years, and I think I can't even count on 2 hands. It's maybe in the 7 years I worked there, we maybe had 15 layoffs. It was quite intense. I had like 4 different managers. Yeah, it was an ordeal. And that was like a media tech company. So what am I going to do now being a laid off girly? I think my bad, somebody called me. But the question at hand is, what does one do post layoff? The first thing that I have personally been navigating, which no one really talks about, and if they do talk about it, I miss that conversation, is managing the post layoff crash out, mostly around identity. In New York City, oftentimes a portion of your social currency is attached to what you do for work and where you work. So I've been like, oh my God, what do I tell people when they ask me what do I do for work? I don't have a job anymore. What is this life? I've worked in New York City at a job for 11 years. So it's very, very weird to not attach myself to a job, which is not who I am at all. That's not my brand. So it's crazy that I'm even having this crisis. But lo and behold, I'm still navigating it. I'm still going through it. And I recognize that I'm going to be okay because I've built a pretty strong network. And I have people who have already reached out to me offering me gigs. But I think as I'm thinking about next steps, I'm like, do I even want to work a full-time job ever again? Unless I get offered to be an editor-in-chief, then the answer is yes. But yeah, I'm excited to do more speaking engagements. I'm excited to position myself as a thought leader, as a culture commentator, as a beauty expert. I'm excited to freelance for different publications and be able to share different narratives and interview different people. I'm excited to not have to wake up at the crack of dawn and clock into work. I am excited to also travel more. I'm excited to lean more into having fun in New York City during the daytime, which I've never been able to do. That is going to be so fun. And I definitely am excited to lean more into content creation. Even though y'all dragging me in the comments in my last video for being a transplant, I'm going to hold everybody accountable for those comments, for those mean comments, actually. I'm excited to do a lot of things. I'm also excited to bring back that one series that I did one video for about finding singles as young people of color. And I don't know, I'm excited to continue to create a full life for myself that is not attached to having a job. Because as we all know at this point, it does not matter if you have a job. At the end of the day, if you're working for somebody else, you can't get fired. And I am experiencing that firsthand. And I am excited to renew myself and my energy. So if you've watched it up until this point, I am now rambling. But thank you for watching and stay tuned for more stuff that I have to share. Oh, I'm such a millennial. Jeez. I think it's this. Peace out.
Family, let me know what you think about this video. If you enjoyed this content, go ahead and press the subscribe button if you made it to the end and didn't subscribe yet. I would love for you to drop a comment letting me know what you think of these mass layoffs. What do you think? What's your opinion? Do you think the economy will get better? Or do you think it's going to get worse soon? Or do you think it's going to get worse? Or do you think it'll get better than worse? Or worse than better? Y'all let me know. Peace. Until my Hebrew fam. Shalom. I will catch y'all on the next one.